Who said EFL TV is just for in-season? Not us here. We love it. We want to bring you as much news as we can. Lots happened during season 2011. We'll get to Lauren Wood, who's right here with me in a second for an update on what happened during the year. And, of course, Chandler Medal Night recently as well. And Phil Merton is also going to join us for a review of what's going to happen in the off-season in the Eastern Footy League. But, Lauren, welcome back to EFL TV. Great to have you here.
It is. It's great to be back. We've had a few weeks off, but, we're certainly glad to be here.
We've missed you. It's been a big 2011. And we had, of course, the celebration of that really for the Eastern Footy League at Chandler Medal Night last week.
Yeah, and it really was an enjoyable evening. We changed the format up a little bit. We scrapped the 3-course dinner.
Good idea.
And we decided to take it theatre style. So we headed down to 1330 in Scoresby. So they turned on some magnificent food for us. We had Des Dowling, one of your mates from
One of the
SEN.
greats from halftime.
He was our host for the evening and absolutely hilarious. And we were also joined by Greg Champion for a bit of entertainment in amongst all the awards. So there was a few surprise winners. I mean, Craig Anderson with the Chandler Medal in Division 1.
No real surprise
Fantastic year. But tell you what,
Superstar.
Cam Linford from Moorbark, he finished off the season with 5 best on ground performances to absolutely come from behind for Divi 2. Divi 3 was Dean Grice, who unfortunately couldn't be there. He was a little bit sick.
Is that number 3 for him?
It is. So he's just reached
yeah.
EFL legend status too. So congratulations,
Wow.
Dean. And Divi 4, Sean Jamison from Ferntree Gully Eagles. So certainly a great effort from all those boys and all our other award winners.
Teams of the year announced as well, weren't they?
They certainly were. So they're all on the website. You can also watch the Chandler Medal if
Can you?
want to. Yeah, on our YouTube channel. So youtube.com/footy EFL. We live streamed it on the night, so my mum was watching it. And
Of course she was.
Enjoy it.
Jane Wood loves
so
it.
you can. She certainly does. But as I say, you can get on there and have a look at how it all went down.
Speaking of YouTube, and I'm sure it was a great night at Chandler Medal Night on Friday night, the Division 1 Grand Final has had heaps of hits.
It has. We've hit 30,000
That's
views.
remarkable.
So certainly, I mean, everyone seems to be interested in EFL footy, and we all know Noble Park ran away with it, but it was a fantastic day, and make sure you check it out while you're on that YouTube channel.
Good idea. And if you're not doing that, you could be riding along Eastlink, I believe.
Exactly. On just a reminder to everyone, Sunday the 13th of November is the Hanover Ride for Home as part of Connect East. So Eastlink will be shut on that day, but you can jump on your bike. There's a 75k ride, a 35k ride, or if you're like me, just a little 15er.
That's much better.
So just a fun run. You can go through the tunnels, full length of Eastlink if you want to. So it's raising some great money for homeless charities, and the kids under 15 are free if they're accompanied by an adult. So
Oh, so you can take your kids?
you can.
Oh, perfect.
So if you head to rideforhome.com.au, you can get all the info.
Okay, and any vacancies in the EFL team at this time of the year? Because I know that Sean Kelly is off to Brisbane, is he?
He's gone already.
Gonski.
Yeah, started with Queensland Cricket, so congratulations again to Sean, and we're certainly going to miss him.
Traitor.
But there are, he's traded it in for the cricket bat. I think it's a bit more exciting at this time of year. But there are certainly a few spots available in a lot of different areas, I guess, with the EFL if you are interested in becoming involved. So if you're interested in joining the media team, our radio coverage or writing, we'd certainly love to hear from you. Perhaps if you're interested in joining the junior committee, there's something else. Or make sure you get in touch with Nashi at the office if you're interested in becoming an umpire, because I know they're kicking off their summer training programs pretty soon.
And who else would you want to work under but Nashi at the umpires?
Exactly.
One of our great friends here on EFL TV. So the year's done for you. What, just months off now? You do nothing now? Is that what happens?
Wish. I tell you what, it hasn't stopped yet.
Can't be that hard sitting in the offices working next to Sharpie and Mertz.
I don't know about hard, but no, we certainly have a lot of fun.
Well, it's been certainly plenty happening in season 2011. You've been a great part of EFL TV. We might be back. We just don't know. The fans want us, so we'll keep coming until the fans don't want us, but at this stage they do. Thank you, Loz.
Exactly. Thanks, Half.
Back with more. In fact, we're going to catch up with Phil Merton right now. And here he is now to discuss all the footy matters in the EFL. Phil Merton. G'day, Mertz.
Half, how you going?
Mate, terrific. Resting up in the off-season, which is nice, as I'm sure you're doing as well there at the offices of the EFL. Been a bit of news in footy. What happens at the EFL house in the next couple of months?
Yeah, look, there's certainly a fair bit of planning that goes on towards season 2012 and also some review of what's happened in 2011. So at the moment we've got an annual report to get prepared for the AGM. And at the AGM we try and release the senior fixtures. So with next year there being three competitions that'll have 11 or 12 teams. They'll be a little bit more complicated as we've got the seeded draw across 3 comps now. And then also, while the junior fixture isn't released until just prior to the season starting, with introduction of under-17s next year, we expect there might be up to 15 to 20 extra teams, so that'll have an impact on fixturing. So we're doing a bit of modelling around how we might be able to accommodate those 15 or 20 teams. So, and then we introduced some girls footy this year, and we're potentially going to expand that again next year. So, trying to find positions for all those those teams to play is a challenge, and not one that we want to leave to the last minute.
Yeah.
So we want to try and make sure that we've got some idea of how things are going to work prior to Christmas.
Forgot about the under-17s. That's a good point from you. Now, the AFL, we often feed off them. A couple of years down the track, things start to trickle down to local footy levels. They've decided to make no changes to the rules next year. Now, the advantage rule has been tweaked a touch from the AFL. What are your thoughts on it from an AFL point of view?
Yeah, look, as a general rule, rules that are introduced at the AFL, we like to introduce in the AFL. We think as a game it's the appropriate thing to do, because we've got obviously people watching both games and umpires that watch both games. So where the rules are suitable, we try and introduce them as well.
Yep.
Look, we agree with what the AFL said, that over the course of the season the players seemed to adjust to the new advantage rule, and that the decision was up to them, and that you saw a lot more players that wouldn't try and take that extra couple of steps when they took possession of the ball that maybe wasn't their free kick.
Yep.
So we think the players adjusted to that, and I think with some minor tweaking in terms of the ability of the umpire to still pull some back or to delay the decision, that it can work. So from that perspective, we think it worked okay.
Okay, and the sub-rule, I reckon the sub-rule in the AFL works really well. Yeah. Is there a chance it might enter the Eastern Footy League?
Yeah, look, in the immediate future, we're not looking at it. I think the real benefit of the sub-rule is where you have a high number of rotations and where players may get injured, that it doesn't reduce the other team's chance, or the team with injured players' chance of winning. So if you, like when Podsiadly went down early in the second quarter of a grand final, if that was 4 versus 3 rotations, then you're going to struggle. We've kept stats on rotations throughout the last couple of years, and they're not at a stage where they're spiralling out of control. So we think at the moment the teams who lose a player to injury aren't going to be at a significant disadvantage from what other teams are. But next year we'll continue to monitor those figures, and we'll probably try and have a look at the number of games where senior teams might have a player that has a game-ending injury, and see how often that occurs as to whether or not it's worthwhile introducing in the AFL. But at the moment, there's no, we're not considering introducing that. Probably
not a bad call at this level either. What about the point system? Now, there's been a debate going on the forum. I had to check into that during the week about the point system. We know the Mornington Peninsula League do it. Is it good for the league? Is it bad for the league? Is there any evidence to say that our model in the Eastern Footy League is different to that sort of model?
Yeah, look, there's a number of models that exist around all football competitions. In the NPNFL, as you mentioned, they've got a point system, but they don't have promotion relegation, so they're stuck in geographic locations. So the team that finishes on the bottom stays on the bottom for the next year and doesn't get that opportunity to go down a division and maybe find a different level of competition for themselves. Yeah. The Yarra Valley have introduced it, and they've had some teams that have been promoted and relegated, but there's other teams that have asked not to be promoted. And so, look, we've kept I've been doing a review of this over the last sort of 5 or 6 years to try and have a look
some numbers, have you?
Yeah, to try and have a look at whether or not it does have an impact. And there's some figures on the screen now that you'll see that in terms of the number of teams that have played finals, that have played in grand finals, that have been premiers, when you're comparing our competition to the NPNFL and to the VAFA, where players don't get paid, so player payments shouldn't have an impact on the success of a team, you can see that there isn't much of a difference across all of the competition. So that's over a 5-year period. And one of the differences you do notice is that with promotion relegation, the teams that may not have played finals at the top division will have played in a grand final in Division 2 or won a Division 2 grand final, or as they go down get the opportunity to play in those finals. So look, it's certainly we're always looking out for things to try and make the competition more fair and equitable, and point systems are one of those things that they're evolving. One of the fundamental things it doesn't do is reduce the amount that clubs pay. Yeah. Clubs will always pay as much as they can afford, and unfortunately sometimes a little bit more than what they can afford. And anecdotally, a couple of things that it also does is encourage clubs to recruit guys at a really young age to their club, so that if you know that a kid who's been through your under-18s is only a 1-point player, well, the amount of players you recruit under 14, 15 and 16 is going to increase. And we will often get complaints about high division clubs poaching lower division club juniors, and that would only increase. And the other thing that you often see is that the number of players that get recruited from within the one competition really increases. So if you keep an eye on that, if you look at, for example, when you're at Baldwin, if you couldn't get Patrick Bowden because he was going to cost you 7 points, well, you might go to Vermont and get Ash Freout and Matt Gregg, who might have been 3 points each. And I mean, I'm not too sure that's good for the competition, having a whole lot of movement of players between the clubs in the same division. So look, we'll continue to monitor it, and if the stats over an extended period of time suggest that it's working better than what our model is and what promotion relegation is, then we might have a look at it.
I think your stats are very, very well stacking up there in favour of the model here at the Eastern Footy League. You mentioned the Ammos in there, and that was part of the model. 2 up, 2 down is their relegation promotion system. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, we put this on the table to clubs a few years ago, and the feedback we got from clubs at that stage was that if they hadn't won a premiership, they didn't want to go up.
Yep.
I think that things have changed a little bit over the last couple of years. The fact that we've now got 3 competitions that have got 11 or 12 teams in them, and that the opportunity to win that premiership is more distant than what it was. So it's probably something we'll canvass with clubs over the next few years and see what the feedback may be. It's not something that it's something that we'll canvass with clubs, but it's not something that we're definitely going to introduce. But I think it's something that as the number of teams in each competition's increased, it warrants consideration.
Always something to talk about, mate. Enjoy the off-season. We'll chat very soon.
You too. Thanks, Half.
Phil Merton from the Eastern Footy League. That's it for another edition of EFL TV. Who knows when we'll be back, but just keep watching.